Hey everybody, welcome to Mechanical Keyboards Live. I am GAB, and today we're going to be desoldering stuff. It's been a little while since I've been around the one-up headquarters, but figured since I was here I had some stuff to take care of, so Pete got me to do it on Livestream. So today I have two boards that I need to desolder. I have an original Dolch PAC, which as you can see is a Cherry 1800, basically in Dolch wardrobe. And this one in particular right now has GMK Ocean Dolch, which I was kind of just testing to see how it looks, but we'll have to take the caps off before I move on to desoldering. And then the other board I will be desoldering today is this KC60. So this KC60 is one of the first mass drop keyboards that dropped, I want to say almost 3 years ago now. At the time, the GH60s were from the original group buy, were not even out yet. So this is kind of the first programmable 60% to actually make it into market, I believe. I think that stands true. But I want to take it apart because the PCB is still good, but I believe Input Club had a lot to do with the design of this board. For some reason they use a lot of CoStar stabs, so I just want to get rid of this top plate. I want to keep those switches. These are Cherry MX screens, but I just want to switch this to a universal plate that I can use PCB mounted stabs on. So that's what I'll be doing today. And actually, I don't have my chat window up, so I cannot see what you guys are saying. Let me do that over here. There we go. See anchor baits here. Let me move this, pop out the chat. Boom. So I have anchor baits here. I got Felipe Corey. I haven't checked the desoldering iron yet. I haven't turned it on, but I have used it a couple more times since. I did get it cleaned out. Anchor bait says CoStar nice. I don't know if that's sarcasm or not. I really didn't have much of a problem with CoStar stabs. They're just not as generally supported today. And anytime you have to switch keycaps, that's a pain in the butt, keeping track of, I guess, what we call the sliders or whatever that go at the end of the wires. I don't have them here. They're at home, nicely stored away, so I don't lose them in case I decide to sell the plate with the stabs on them. Yeah, Anchorbait seems to like CoStar stabs. I really don't feel one way or another. They feel pretty good. I feel like Cherry stabs, I feel like you can lube them better and get a smoother feel than the CoStar ones. But yeah, I'm not here to discuss stabs because I mostly just use Cherry now. But I will get started on this. So I am going to first let you guys know about our launches today for One of Keyboards. And for those of you that are just joining, make sure to give us a thumbs up. We got 19 people on the stream, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs up. But today, One Up Keyboards launched their 60% RGB Underglow PCBs. So if you guys are looking in for an affordable PCB, gold contacts, white with a big old One Up logo, will fit most modern 60% cases. Yeah, so make sure you get yours. I might, depending on how long this takes, put one together, but I don't know that I'll have the time to do that. Yeah, Anchorbait is all about the CoStars. Anchorbait, what makes you like the CoStar so much? If you don't mind me asking. But anyways, while he's while we're chatting here, I'm going to get started. I don't think there's any giveaways going on at the moment. I feel like the January giveaway is over at this point. So we're just going to get right into business and take off these keycaps. What do you guys think of Ocean Dolch? This wasn't a very popular set when the group I launched on Sea Frontier. But to me, it's the closest thing to GMK Calm Depths. The mods are pretty close to Calm Depths. I would say the alphas are a little darker, but overall colors are pretty good. I thought it would be cool to have an aftermarket set on this original Dolch case. Anchorbait asks if the PCB runs QMK, and yes it does. I believe it has its own fork on QMK right now. Pete would know the specifics. And before anybody asks, as you're seeing me take these caps off, all of these Dolch pack boards are actually cherry blues. But I have taken the blue stems out of this first 5 switches, or I don't remember how many I borrowed. So there are a couple browns on here that I will be replacing when I put this board together. So my plan for this board right now has the original cherry PCB in it with the original PCB mount cherry. I guess they're vintage blues. These are old enough to be considered vintage blues. I don't know. But I will be taking those switches, maybe modifying. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them later, but I do want them off of this PCB. But I will be putting in a Liku PCB, so I will be modernizing the interior of this board. I will be keeping the PCB mount, so I will not be getting a plate for this board. I kind of want it to stay true to the original. If I do change switches and don't go with the blues, I'll still probably stay with something clicky. But that is as of yet undecided.
Did you hear me? The background.
What's that? Yeah, as I'm talking about clicky switches, as Steph is clacking away over here on Aristotle's. Gadistotles, sorry. Which, if you guys are still looking to build Gadistotles, we do have them in stock. Aristotle switches as well as all the Gateron switches. No? But we do have some, don't we?
We do have some.
Maybe we should put those in stock. I think Stephanie's hoarding Aristotles for herself for her next keyboard build.
Yeah.
What is your next keyboard build, Stephanie? You ever gonna build that Mac 27?
It's sitting there looking very pretty.
But yeah, let's see. Geostrubber, hello, welcome to the stream. So what other news do I have right now? As I think I didn't actually watch the last stream. Pete announced I wasn't in town anymore. He did something of the sort.
You may have done.
I don't know. For those of you that don't know, I am no longer residing in New York City, so I am not at One Up Keyboard's headquarters as often as I have been over the last 2 years, in particular the last couple months. But I'll still be around, still enjoy memeing poor Pete, and then hanging out with Steph, keeping her company. But other than that, I haven't been building much keyboards. I've had this one on the back burner for a while. Trying to remember, what was my last stream? What did I desolder on my last stream?
No,
Oh, right.
when that thing was broken.
Yeah, I tried to desolder Poker RGB for a customer. And I actually have another board that I am building for a customer, which I will show you guys in a bit. It is fresh off of a group buy that just got delivered. I'll see if anybody can guess what the board is. It is a TKL. And again, like I said, it's a recently delivered group buy. I wish I had enough dexterity to like use both hands to pull out keycaps. Ambidextrously just being like pulling keycaps.
But they get stuck in the thing.
I
You
know.
have to-
Especially these, since there's no plate. Like if I go too far down, the puller ends up getting caught on the switch rather than the keycap, which kind of makes it a little annoying. Yeah. So obviously, after I pull all these switches out, I will be lubing them to render them completely useless, as I do. Keyboard Builder asked if I will be rebuilding this Dolch board, and the answer is yes. I have a Liku 1800 PCV that I will be using to rebuild this. Currently, I'm not doing that today on the stream because I am still waiting. I basically got the PCB with no components on it, so I am currently waiting on all the SMD stuff that I will be putting. I have genuine stabs. These are as genuine cherry as they get. The other build I have actually is getting seal stabs. But no, it is not a Mech 27. We still have Stephanie's V1 Mech 27 that is unbuilt, but we did not participate in the latest round. So no, nobody has guessed yet what the PCB is, what the TKL I will be building later on. I have it with me. I can show you guys the unbuilt TKL, but maybe after somebody guesses it. So my goal is to completely disassemble this and use as many of the original Dolch components, but on a modern PCB. I'm still trying to figure out if I have the ability to make it wireless, because I do have the whole computer. I don't just have the keyboard. I see you guys making fun of me. That's great. I would love to actually put modern components inside the actual computer case that this keyboard belongs to. I don't know if anybody wants to look them up. Yeah, people do seal stabs. No, I'm not building a QFR. I guess people still use seal stabs. I mean, mostly for the screw ends. But actually, by telling you that I am using seal stabs, it might give you a clue as to what keyboard it is, because they did come with them. Oh man, somebody's angry that I'm removing this slow. I could go faster, but like I said, this one's actually get caught on the switches themselves. So it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. And I don't like pulling multiple caps just because I don't want caps rubbing on caps. Come on. Disco Frog in the house. Geostrubber soldering Celias into a G710. How does that feel? That's not something I see people doing a lot. I guess as the community grows, modifying Logitech boards and racer boards and stuff is going to become more common. Nope, it's not a mirror. Although I will be checking out some mirrors later today. A couple members of the New York community are getting together for a mini meet. And I believe there might be 2 mirrors there. But nope, this keyboard is not it's not a mirror. What's up, Armando? Welcome to the stream. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm actually going to get around to building anything. We are just taking this old board apart, basically taking the switches, and at a later time I will be updating the internals with newer internals, so I have a USB compatible. This keyboard actually uses a phone cable is how it connected to the computer, so not much. Basically can't use this in its original form with any modern computer. Like, it is not PS2 compatible or anything. Let's see. No, not building a text board and not building an LZ board. Keyboard builders got it. I have with me a timed TKL. I will not be building it today because I do not have the switches that I need to build them. We are waiting on the latest batch of Azelias. Once those get in, then I will probably come up and do that build with you guys here. I can hear my phone going off, but I don't know why. All right, and finally, yep. So this, oh yeah, and I forgot. Originally, I used to get a heavier switch on the spacebar. I feel like that's kind of been lost. Not so many people are doing that now. All right, let me put these switches in a baggie. The time TKL that I have, I will show you guys in a minute. As soon as I clear this out of the table, I'll show you the time. I'll do an unboxing of sorts. It is a black with gold, and with a gold aluminum plate. Atari Zero in the house. What's up, Atari? How you doing? Yep. So it doesn't have the OG Dolch set on it. I actually have that at home. I had an Ocean Dolch, GMK Ocean Dolch that I was trying out. So I'm just getting these caps off. I've already opened the board, so I save those a lot of time. But then I will go ahead and desolder these switches because I do want to use them, or a modified version of them, when I rebuild this with a Liku PCB. But it'll be cool going into it and seeing how much larger all the components are on this PCB. It's really, really funny compared to what we're working with nowadays. Yeah, the black gold is a really nice combo. Yeah, I'll just show you guys in just a minute. It's a very nice board. Very heavy. It is not my board. I am building, it is a commission for somebody that wanted me to build a board for them. Honestly, my only complaint is that the clock the gears on the clock aren't actually connected, which is the only thing that kind of bumps me out. I see Keyboard Builder asking me, how do I like the Ocean Dolch versus Sky Dolch? Well, the main two differences for those that don't know between Ocean Dolch and Sky Dolch is that the colors of the base colors of the alphas and the mods are switched. So basically on Sky Dolch, your mods are darker, they're a very dark gray, and then your alphas are a lighter gray, and both with the blue legends. Ocean Dolch is inverted, so it is dark alphas and lighter mods, which gives the keyboard a darker look, and I thought that would look really cool on the original Dolch board, because I haven't seen anybody in a long time actually build an older Dolch pack keyboard. So I wanted to do mine a little bit more unique. Here I missed two caps back here. Yeah, honestly, the Dolch color sets are, I mean, I have the OG Dolch caps that were on here at home. I'll probably do a build with them at some point. But it's just such classic styling with the dark, with the combination of the dark grays. And if you do Sky Dolch, you get the blue legends, but even the white legends look really great. Alright, so really quickly, since I was teasing it, I'm gonna bring in this puppy. Oh no. Let's see. Yeah, that's correct. So Sky Dolch is normal Dolch with teal legends, and then the Ocean Dolch is flipped base color, still with teal legends. Let me see, is there anything that I'm missing here? Oh, I missed a comment on Steph. Yeah, the clock part being face down is it's kind of defeats the purpose of having such detailed work on it. But the same could be said about like anything that goes in it, like the weights and stuff. So here we go. This is the Time to KO by Fox Labs. And here I have the PCB, and let me flip this so you guys can see the inside of it. Boom. So that is this is the big deal with this TikTok machine. Unfortunately, like I was saying, the gears don't really move. I mean, they move because they have some play, and these screw in, so basically they just go righty-tighty until they can go righty-tighty no more. So it's a very cool design, very ornate, and honestly, the engraving on the base plate is really nice. I don't know if I can show it all that well. I forget how to use the zoom on this camera. Let me see if Action Cam is any better. There we go. So there you can see super detail work engraving on it. I mean, I'm sure it's machined or lasered, but it's still a very nice design. And then, let me see here. No, too much glare. But it's got some nice script on there. But so let me just really quickly come out of screen here to flip this. I'm going to use this because it doesn't have the feet on. I don't want to scratch metal against metal. But so that's the top. Other than all the work on the base, the top is pretty simple. You've got the time here. It's got a nice inlay of the gold matches the plate. You got the plate. It's got the front details and then the back details. So, you know, the big thing with this board is really that back with the clockwork, which, like many were saying, unfortunately it is on the back. So you're gonna have to lift your 3-pound keyboard every time you want to show it off. And I'll show you guys the PCB. So it's got what I think a pretty average PCB. Black and gold is absolutely nice. This one comes with pre-soldered components, and I believe, I can't remember if that's Alps compatible holes. So it's pretty nice. Obviously on a TKL there's plenty of room to work with, but it's a no frills PCB. There's no underglow because the case doesn't allow for any. And you got a relatively extended USB to get through the top of the case. I did not pay for this, as it is not my keyboard. This is a community members board that I will be building for them. On what? You know what? I don't know what layout they want yet. Like I said, I just received this recently. I mean, these just dropped. They literally, I think, just started shipping out. I think people still don't have theirs. Not everybody has their board yet. But maybe I'll do win keyless. Maybe I'll convince the owner of the board to go win keyless, since I do prefer win keyless. On the other hand, I'm still waiting for my Moon TKL. They look like they're almost ready to go, but not quite yet. And anyways, I'm gonna come back to this puppy now that I've shown you guys the time. And so to take this apart, originally there's 5 screws, top, bottom, and then there's actually a Dolch logo here that I very carefully removed to get to the last access screw. These things came with plastic feet. I'm not gonna pop them now because I don't need to. But then this back case comes off, and voila. You have the PCB. In this case, the PCB is screwed onto the top of the case. Not all the screws are on here because, like I said, I was messing with this earlier. But I'm gonna get some tools and unscrew this to free the PCB. Still, Eric, so if you want prices, you can PM me in the chat room or on whatchamacallit, on Reddit. Yeah, if you don't, Mange, if you want to post up the Discord channel link for those that are not already members of the Discord channel, you can always find me on there. I don't do commission work very often, so it's kind of on a case by case basis, so I don't have set pricing. Let's see what's going on here on chat. A lot of talk about box switches. A lot of talk about pale blues. Oh, I see nice and creamies in the house. You know, the OG Dolch boards, I think early on, like probably more than 3 years ago, for sure. You know, we didn't have as many options as we do now for a keyboard, so a lot of it came down to modifying these older keyboards. I mean, there was a time where we had no keys and a OG cherry white on red keycap was the same price as Artisans are today. So just think about that. Oh, and Atari Zero with the super chat. Always a good time with a JB stream. Well, thank you very much, Atari, and thank you for your contribution. I'm gonna have to add that to the board. Let's see if it's legible. And it kind of is. So for those of you that don't know, all your super chat donations, Bitcoin donations, or anything that you can do through here or available in the description below are all going towards a 360 camera. Pete is looking forward to doing a 4K 360 stream at some point, so we will be doing that. So that is what our goal of $450 is, for that 360 cam, to bring you guys full access to One Up HQ, much to the chagrin of Stephanie, who will no longer be able to just hide right off of screen. She's currently to my right here. I am looking for a marker, which I do not know where Pete keeps his.
It was in the drawer left, one of the drawers.
In the drawer? Let's go through the drawers. There it is. Boom. And it's $5, which will bring us from $238 to $43. Cool. Thanks again to Atari Zero for that. All right, so I believe this is now loose, most of it. Cool. So this is the inside. This is by today's standard, this is by no means a sturdy case, but you know what? It's kind of fun using the vintage stuff. I mean, we're all used to vintage being IBM, but not all vintage boards were as sturdy. And as you can see, this is PCB mount. So there is no plate, tons of flex. I mean, this thing does have like 4 screw-in points, but still lots of flex. The only thing that keeps it from flexing are the ribs on the bottom of the case. But yeah, but you can see the size of everything. These have the diodes in the switches, so after I desolder and eventually go to reuse these switches, I will have to open them up to remove diodes. You can see the control board is actually on a separate PCB that connects with ribbon cables. Here, I'll switch to action cam so you can see it here. Pretty crazy stuff. I mean, all these everything's through the hole. Obviously, SMD mounted stuff was not popular or available back then. But yeah, and then there is a little breakout board for LEDs. Pretty standard 3mm LEDs, maybe 3mm, but they do connect. The connector is kind of funky. It's got like 4 pins going down, but this is for number lock, caps lock, and scroll lock. And let's see more information on the board. Just want to show that this is genuine cherry board, and I don't know, looks like it's got like mud on it, but I believe that's just flux from the soldering. I wonder if I imagine these were machine soldered, but you can see the traces. Everything is huge compared to today's standards. And for those that were curious on the model, I don't know if you can read that. G80 181 3HFU. And I forget what all the things are. Obviously, G81, 81 refers to the layout, and then I forget one of the letter codes is for the switches, the color of the switch, and obviously I'm sure this is a specific code for the Dolch. Somebody who's more familiar with actually these old boards will probably be able to tell you more about it. I'm not that into vintage or OG Cherry stuff, so not that knowledgeable. Just kind of know the basics. Lots of messages here. Let me try to scroll back up, see what I'm missing. Yeah, Creamy, last time I did, I'm just going back through comments. I see you talking about declogging the pump. Last time we actually had dried up, I guess, was flux on the nozzle. And I had to buy the little drill bit to actually clean it out properly, but it's been working fine since. Yeah, I mean, WK, Win-keyless boards have probably been around more than Win-key boards. So I think they remain popular because of that. Kind of gives that vintage feel. And honestly, not a lot of people pledge allegiance to Windows anymore as much as they did in the mid to late 90s. So maybe they just don't want to have a Windows logo on there. Let me see. Let's see. Just kind of pumped up. The manufacturing date. I actually didn't look at the manufacturing date on here. I don't know that it's on the board, Atari. Let me see. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know if any of the dates, any of the numbers on the stickers were the date. I mean, it should be early 90s. There is a 92 at the end of one of these numbers over here, so that might be a manufacturer date. Everything else is just by revisions and whatnot. And now that I'm looking at it, it's kind of interesting to see here. I'll switch to action cam on this little breakout board that has all the hardware. It seems like this part was actually hand soldered. Like, it is not as clean as the base. So I wonder if these were done after the fact. There is a date on here, 1296. Which what I assume is also somebody's initials, which JBTR. So somebody, that's probably like an ID of sorts. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. So my guess is that this board is from 96 and not 92 like I previously thought from one of the other stickers. Granted, this sticker, where's the sticker that I was talking about? Now that sticker's on here on this side. So this sticker, which has the keyboard code on it, has that 92, but I don't know if that's relevant. I just figured that could be a number, but then this stamp over here says 1296. That leads me to believe that this is a December of 1996 model. And I was saying this is totally hand soldered. You can see that it's even burnt a little over here. So I'm guessing these were done by hand at some point, which is kind of cool. Somebody actually worked on this, not just a machine. And I'm about to take apart their handiwork. Let's see. Yeah, we got 25 people watching, only 11 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down. Nice. all about those thumbs down. So I'm gonna put these aside. I'm actually gonna start warming up the desoldering iron and get cracking on these. Cool. All right, and I'm going to set up a fan and crack open the windows real quick, or crack open the door. Stephanie, sorry that it's not a warmer day.
Alright, I'm already cold.
It is chilly up here in New York. I don't know what the weather dropped down to. It's quite cold, isn't it?
It's also got down to -8 Celsius.
Oh, really? Yeah, so we're definitely
It was
well below freezing.
Yeah, -3 Celsius last time I asked Alexa.
Oof.
Alexa, what's the weather?
In New York, it's -4 degrees with cloudy skies. Tonight, you can look for clear skies with a low of -8 degrees.
Gotcha, mange. Yeah, that's why I was saying I'm not sure, like, if that's a proper date. But yeah, like I said, this part definitely could have come at a later time, versus the baseboard. Like you said, they probably use this PCB on a multitude of boards. What else? What else? What else? I don't know what you guys are talking about. Oh, the filters for this. Yeah, I probably will change the filter after this. It's looking pretty gross in there. And then, yeah, hype for the Hyperfuse. What is it? Hyperfuse Origins? Is that what they're calling it? That looks pretty good. Kind of excited for it. I don't know that I mean, I have two Hyperfuse boards, a DSA and an SA, so I guess it makes sense to get a GMK with the signature plastic colors now that they're going all out and actually matching them. Just really quickly, this should be up to temp. I am going to make sure that this is clear now that it's warm. Cool. Alright, so there is no desolder cam, so I'm just going to get to it. I start up here.
Try action cam.
Action cam. I'll try action cam when I get lower. These, the holes on this are actually pretty large, which makes this easier than on one of the other boards. Oh man, this is a piece of cake. Wow, this solder is coming off so easy. This is awesome. Oh, these pads are not hanging on very well, though. I will say that. You might be able to see, so maybe not. But I have two pads that just completely jumped off the PCB. Yeah, the pads are just coming right out. That's okay. I don't think this PCB will be seeing much use after this. I'll probably keep it around just for kicks. And I'm not going in any particular order. I'll probably go through the numpad over here and then move on. Let's see. It's looking pretty good. Just gonna make sure it's staying clear. Cool. And vintage black solders, yeah. I don't doubt it. Like I'm seeing here, this next set, but didn't come off. But this first row is just pretty much gone. So yeah, there is not much use for this afterwards. But that is a funny nickname, vintage black holders. Yep, there goes one. Once I get closer to action cam, I'll put it on so you guys can see how bad these come off. I will say the solder that they must have used back then works at a much lower temperature, because as soon as I touch it with a hot tip, it just instantly comes off. Yeah. No, I'm trying to, I mean, I can see the pads falling off. I'm trying to make sure that nothing's getting sucked up in here. Once I finish the numpad, I'll probably go in and empty the little reservoir, check how the filter's doing. And just to prevent what happened last time, I'm just using the pin to make sure there's no obstruction. Sure that tip is staying nice and shiny. Yeah, the little vacuum sound. closed on me. Keyboard Builder, as I was mentioning earlier, I actually had taken 10. I took 10 blue stems out. That's why they were brown. I just swapped them with brown stems that I had. I had to replace stems and some other cherry switches, and I opted to use these. That's a pad. And no more. Yeah, I might venture to guess that this could possibly be leaded solder on here, which is why it's coming off so easily. So lower working temperature. As far as lifting pads, probably not. My guess is that this is going to be pretty close to unusable after the fact, considering that the contacts just wouldn't work. You all right there?
Yeah.
This down for a sec. Just gonna take a look at these, see how cleanly they're coming out. Let's see. Too much lube on the blues. Yeah, I had to use some browns to save from the overlubed blues. No, like I was saying, I just needed some blue stems for a different project, so I ended up borrowing them from this board. Since I knew I would be modifying these switches anyways, and I have other blues that I can use. Alright, it's looking so far. These are desoldering pretty cleanly, which is exciting. So I'm actually going to take a second to clean this out, because there's a nice lump of solder in here. Yeah, I don't know how well you can see, but there's a nice glop of solder in there. So I'm gonna go throw this out and I'll be right back. That is intense. Yeah, that was a nice lump of coal there, or solder. Cool. All right. So now I am going to continue with this. Let's see. Yeah, keyboard builder, like Mage was saying, I mean, it would have been cool to be able to keep the PCB intact, but even with the lifted pads, there really is no further use for this PCB. I will be replacing it for a more modern PCB. If you ever need to rebuild like an old Cherry keyboard, you can just buy a modern version of a PCB that'll fit into the older keyboards. So there really is no use other than just the cool factor of saying that you still have an old Cherry PCB, but really Leak in particular caters to the 1800 layout and to the basically OG style, Cherry OG style boards with his PCBs, so you can just source his PCBs and rebuild. There are other people. The 1800 layout has gotten a little more popular, so we are seeing other people come up with 1800 style boards. So there really is no reason to stay with an old tech. Let's see. I see talk about the Seal, the Zephyr 65 price. Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. But I guess when you have the only aftermarket RGB PCBs other than pokers, you know, he kind of gets to call his own shots on that. The board itself is nothing to write home about, I don't think, but it's cool. He's doing his thing. Paolo Mali is asking if the giveaway announcer, the giveaway winner was announced. I do not know. That's a question for Pete, since I do not handle whatchamacallit, the giveaways. And but yeah, also if you guys are just tuning in, make sure to give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't, subscribe, and if you wish to stay tuned for for more live streams and other reviews, make sure to hit the little bell. I know Pete would appreciate it. And for those in the Northeast area, One Up Keyboards will be attending the New Jersey Keyboard Meetup in Newark next week, I believe. Is that correct, Stephanie?
Yeah, the 10th.
The 10th. So in Newark, New Jersey, 2018 Keyboard Meet. For those of you that are in the Northeast area and are members of Geek Hack, I don't know if the vote is still happening, but we are trying to get a KeyCon to happen in Philadelphia one more time. So head on over to Geek Hack if you're a member and vote for, even if your favorite city is not Philadelphia, you should vote for Philadelphia, because go Eagles. Right? No? No go Eagles? What? What are you talking about, Steph? Steph is a diehard Eagles fan. She bleeds green. He's looking at me like I'm crazy. So who in here is going to be watching the superb owl? Anybody a big sports ball fan? No, so there's KeyCon, which is a big yearly meetup that's mostly known for Geek Hack members, and that happens once a year, and usually it jumps cities every year. But there was a vote in Philadelphia. Philly's on the ballot, I guess, to hold it, have KeyCon 2018 be in Philadelphia again. So back-to-back years in Philly. So if you're in the Northeast, Philadelphia is the one city that's on there. I guess the next closest would be Columbus, Ohio. That's a little ways out. And then next week is a New Jersey meet, which is in Newark, and that's not related to KeyCon or KeyCAG. It's just a general large meet being held by members of the community. So we will be attending. There will be raffles and all that stuff. So if you're in the Northeast tri-state area, definitely come join us, hang out. And while One Up Keyboards is based in New York, and we are in New York City right now, streaming live from Manhattan, I have lived in Philly for the last 16 years, and Stephanie and Peter have no alliances to to any U.S. sports teams.
No, not really.
Yeah. Also, somebody said, "Go Cowboys! Cowboys suck." Anyways, let's see. How long of a drive do you have to Philly? Depends. If I'm on a bus, it's about 2 hours. It's about the same on the local train. There aren't that many. The fast train is much more expensive. If I'm driving, depending on traffic, anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours. Also, there's factors, traffic on the turnpike, if you're familiar with the area, and then the tunnels will get you if you're not paying. If you go out of town at the wrong time, you could be stuck in the tunnel 30 to 40 minutes easy. save those for the cam. Let's see. $45 Jeebus. If I could drive from Philly to New York in 45 minutes, I would probably end up in jail eventually. I mean, the truth is, anywhere in Manhattan, whether it's like 5 blocks or, you know, across town, the moment you get in a car and try to drive, it's going to take you an hour to get there. It's like no matter what, getting anywhere in Manhattan takes 30 minutes to an hour. Oof, this thing's starting to feel heavy. Let's see. Keyboard Builder asks, is Philly much cheaper to live in? It's probably about half price. Everything is half, at least cost of living feels like it's about half price. You can get the same apartment that you can get in New York. Like a $2,000 apartment in New York is probably about $1,000 in Philly. Not to say that Philly doesn't have its expensive areas, but it's generally much cheaper. And while Philly is still pretty crowded, it's nowhere near New York levels. The one thing I will say about New York is that while it has become very unreliable as of late, public transport within New York City is fabulous. You definitely is a city that you don't need a car in. Oh, nice and creamy. I was not aware that they changed that from Philly, Columbus to Pittsburgh. I have not been on there in the last couple days. I'll have to go back in and I guess vote for Pittsburgh now. While it's kind of far, it's not terrible. It's about an 8-hour drive. No. What? Well, what this means is that if KeyCon is happening in Pittsburgh, then I might be wide open to having another Philly meet. Might have to organize that. If you want to live somewhere for half the price of Philly, you most likely need to go to the middle of nowhere. No, I don't know that it can get that much cheaper, but you can probably be somewhere in the Midwest for pretty cheap. I mean, your internet will probably be super slow, and there won't be much to do. But housing's real cheap out there. And I mean, and depending on what kind of jobs you want to do for a living, living in the Midwest might not work out for you. Pretty well. See, what time is it? You know what time it is? Oh, 5:13. Yeah, I might barely just get past this board and then have to go. So it won't be super long. I don't think I've desoldered a board that's bigger than a 60, so this is definitely taking a little while. Hey, nice and creamy. We didn't know back then that this hobby was going to get so big. There was only like 20 replies to the post, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. We ended up having close to 40 people there, which at the time made it like the second biggest meet after the California meets. So yes, I will not be having it in a sauna. But I think I'm still the only meat to have chopsticks to eat Cheetos with. I don't think I've seen anybody else do that. Keyboard Builder is like asking me all these questions about living arrangements. Yes, it's very common to live with roommates in your 20s in Philly. It is completely acceptable. In fact, I live with roommates here in New York, and I'm in my 30s, so not weird at all. Oof, I'm getting close. Alright, I'm moving to this function row. Maybe I'm going to switch to action cam. Oh, Nice and Creamy is upset that a duck octagon won back in the day. So cranky. It is if you have a steady income, is very easy to afford a place, your own place. Maybe not inside Philly, but in the Philly suburbs. All right, I'm gonna switch to action cam here, so you guys can kind of see me up close messing with this thing. He's cranky. Listen, for those of you that don't know, the first Philly meet, which is now what, I think it was 2015? Yeah, it's been a while. Was held in a makerspace. So the board that won was a duck octagon that had a 3D printed plate, which was cool and kind of went with the theme of where I hosted the meet, which is why it won. But clearly Creamy can't let it go. Come on, Creamy, let it go. Oh, Atari, how's that easy on the wallet Prionic? Alright, I think this is the last one from what I can see, and maybe once I go try to actually take off the switches, something will be stuck. But that should be all the switches from what I can tell. And the one thing I want to get out is actually I want to desolder the little breakout board for the LEDs. So I can keep the LEDs in the factory position. I will wire this into, let me move that. I'll end up wiring this into the Liquid PCB. Just use the contacts on there, but I'm gonna desolder it. Yeah. Can't quite get, there we go. Cool. And you see that comes off super clean, super easy. And I guess while I'm here, I'm going to desolder the LEDs, since I'm going to put different LEDs on here. Cool. Let me see if these come out. Yeah, so there goes the LEDs. These were just basic green LEDs. Yep. That one's not coming off cleanly. What are you stuck to? No, yeah, that did not come off cleanly. Try one more time. That should do it. Boom. All right. So that should be everything that I wanted to desolder. Now, here's earlier I had said that the reason why this PCB also is kind of unusable. That is the connector style. Literally the cable comes out of this telephone jack and then goes into another telephone jack. So in current form, with lifted pads or not, this PCB is unusable by any modern standards, and the only thing that it worked with was the Dolch pack. So now I'm just gonna easily remove all these switches from this PCB. And as you can see, these are coming off easily and cleanly. Much better than the last attempt at desoldering. Alright. I will say though, this PCB itself has made desoldering also feel super easy on it. Just the holes and everything. The fitment is loose, but not too loose, compared to some boards now, which are super tight, which leaves plenty of room for the solder or socket to do its thing and actually be able to take all that solder out. That. See, Keyboard Builder is asking me what my favorite layout is. That's a tough question. I mean, 60% really is kind of like the perfect layout. I do, if I were to need a bigger board, I would have to say a 96 key, so something like the Duck Lightsaber or a ZZ96, which I do own a ZZ96, is my absolutely, like, if I need to use one for every day and be able to do everything on it, I think the 96 key layout is perfect. I would say 1800s next on that list. I actually have a CPSQ, which is a compact 1800, so it basically loses the does it lose the function row? I can't remember. I believe it still has the function row, but it doesn't have the added spacing, so it's slightly more compact, but it has all the keys on it. I quite enjoy that a lot. That's actually my wife's daily driver, is that CPSQ with DSA HANA on it, on lubed Gateron Milky Blacks. It's a very nice board. I'm kind of sad that that's her board and not mine. I barely get to see it. I get to say hi to it every now and then. So there you go. All those switches desoldered. I'm gonna see if I can pop the stabs out too. So I do want to save the sweet, sweet, genuine cherry stabs. I think we're good. You can just get one last breeze in and then close it. I'm gonna turn.
It really smells when you walk by you compared to even where I was at.
Oh really? I'm pretty sure my nose is shot. I can't smell anything.
Yeah, but that's really not good, especially if that's flooded solder.
It's delicious.
Yeah, yeah.
Should not be licking this keyboard, right? Let's see, and that's the last one. We did it. Completely cleanly desoldered cherry Dolch G80 181 something or another. Cool. Alright, I'm gonna take a second here to turn this off, clean the tip back on, get some solder on it, and make sure Pete doesn't kill me. That's great. And then turn it off. Just want to make sure that there's nothing in here. Great. Amazing. We'll let that cool off, and then I'll put it away. My legs are frozen. Let's see, lots of talk on here that I miss. Still going on about that aluminum case. So Atari went with the full PCB material. Easy on the wallet. I did like the design that they did on it. It was very ornate for how simple the construction is. Full grid, definitely the way to go. I think I like the way 2U spacebars look, but I think realistically the full grid is a superior layout. Yeah, I have Milky Blacks that catch on cherry tops too. I didn't know that was a thing back then, so it's very upsetting that I have that board. Luckily, it's a hot swappable board, so eventually I'll swap them. But those Milky Blacks that I do have, they are by far the smoothest switches. Like, they're lubed blacks, Gateron blacks, like first generation, and they are the smoothest lube switches that I have. Like, I have not been able to get switches to feel that same way, and I use thick lube on them. At the time, it was, I don't remember the Crytox mix. It was like a very heavy 205 with something else on it. and they're still probably the best feeling switches, linear switches that I have, but GMK Skeletor on them, and it does catch some keys, not all of them, but some are particularly bad. Alright guys, give me a second here. Now that this is all cleared up, I'm gonna go wash my hands, and then I will close out the show. That you should entertain everybody. No? All right, I'm gonna close the door now. It's definitely cold. That's going like, why is he talking about being cold? Jonathan doesn't get cold. I'm not wearing a hoodie. I need my hoodie. All my superpowers are my hoodie. Let's see. Have not used LEDs with box switches. I haven't built anything with box switches yet. I'm still waiting to really feel like I need to buy some. I see Brotaku in the house. What's up, Brotaku? Pete is not here. I just desoldered a Dolch board, a PCB. Here was the case. We'll be converting that to a Liku PCB at a later time. But these are all our OG cherry, I guess, vintage blues. And the stabs that we just finished removing. And there's Pete. Pete's on chat, but not with us in person here on the stream. For those of you, even though we're getting close to the end of the stream, make sure to give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, if it's your first time, make sure to give us, make sure to subscribe for more streams as well as some other reviews. Make sure to check out oneupkeyboards.com, and I don't know what else. Make sure you email Steph a lot. Say hi to her. She likes to hide behind the scenes, but she loves you guys. But I think that's about it. Unfortunately, I have to go to a keyboard meet in about an hour. So I don't think I have enough time to desolder the other board that I had in mind, which was this KC60. There's a round 1 KC60 from Massdrop. This one I think was only delayed by about 6 to 8 months, so not too bad. I was part of the second shipment. Unfortunately, if those of you remember, these came with the dark gray with purple sub-die caps with the infamous backspace key misspelled PBT caps. This has white LEDs, the good old KC60 PCB, one of the original programmable 60%, or I guess I should say it's the first clone of a GH60 to come out. But yeah, I don't think with the LEDs and all the switches, it's just how much tighter these are in here. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it in a single go before I have to leave, so I'd rather not start it. If anybody's interested, I probably will be selling this plate with CoStar stabs. So hit me up if you want it. Like $5, it's yours. But I think that's it. Thanks everybody for stopping by. Thanks for not making too much fun of me this time. I didn't clog the desoldering iron. I see Creamy's heading out. Creamy, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you around. I'll let you know if I get a Philly meet going. Atari, Brotaku, Mange, Vape Wizard, Paulo Keyboard Builder in particular has been talking lots. Victor, sorry that you got here a little late. I'm sure Pete will be doing a stream relatively soon. He's got a bunch of cool new products today on the store. Max Keys sets. We got our new 60% PCB to go with the Nerd 60s that we have at the moment. So yeah, make sure to check out oneupkeyboards.com. And that's it. Steph, want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Alright guys, we'll see you again soon. Take care and have fun clacking.